Today we're going to be playing a league with Red-Green Transmog Titan, which is a deck that seeks to put down a turn 2 ramp that also produces a creature in the form of either Courier's Briefcase or a channeled Careful Cultivation, and then on turn 3 target that creature and use the ramp to cast a Transmogrify, exiling that creature and putting into play Titan of Industry. Just supremely versatile creature that even at baseline on an empty board gives you 11 power, 7 of which is trample, reach, and has protection in the form of a shield counter, but can also get you life if you're behind versus aggro, pop artifacts or enchantments, and protect the other creatures you've got, normally the back half of Fable of the Mirror Breaker. And rounding out that combo, we also have pretty good value in the form of Eska's Chariot and the aforementioned Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Pretty great cards that anyone who's in red-green know how good they are. We also have Luca as a 5th copy of Transmogrify. He's repeatable, but not as good, just being a turn slower, and his plus is pretty useless in this deck since we only have 3 creatures he can cast. So generally it's just used there to get him enough loyalty to downtick again. Rounding out the deck, we have a decent removal suite, 9 spells, Strangle, Voltage Surge, which can be given its additional cost with Briefcase, Chariot, though you normally don't like to do that, and Treasures from Fable of the Mirror Breaker. And then Fire Prophecy as well as Valakut Awakening can be used to put Titans and other unpleasant combo cards back on the bottom of your library to draw hopefully better cards. And then onto the sideboard we have some alternates as targets to transmog into, that being Void Winnower. Was more relevant when Minuet was around, but still fairly strong into mono green, which is a deck that gives us a lot of trouble since they don't really care about a 11 power on turn 3 when they're probably going to put down more than that on their turn 4. And we also have Carnage Tyrant, which is good into primarily control, but it also does have some game in red-black matchup, which is not a deck we particularly struggle with, but we're already running it for control, so it helps out there. You normally run the Winnowers instead of the Titans, and the Tyrants in addition to the Titans, just because it helps you into those long, grindy matchups. And also, Carnage Tyrant does not interfere with Kahira, being a dinosaur. We also run Chandra to help with the control matchup some more. A lot of lists you'll find run Rurikthar in this slot as another alternative to help you out with Phoenix as well as Lotus Field. Haven't been seeing too much Lotus Field around, so I've tried Chandra in this slot to try and help out our absolutely awful control matchup. Then we have some Graveyard Hate in Unlicensed Hearse, pretty much an omnipresent card in the Pioneer format. Then we have some removal in Rending Volley, very good into Greasefang. You already have a pretty good matchup into them, but this just helps you cement it even more, being able to kill the Greasefang. Very good into Humans, pretty good into Spirits as well. This is also pretty good into Spirits and Humans. And yeah, that is it. On to the first game. Now, for the first game's recording, I kind of messed up, still new to recording, and had the window all wrong, so we will just be going through the replay instead, but I have it fixed for games 2 through 5. Our opening hand is pretty much exactly what you wanted to see. We still do need a 3rd untapped source. We got 3 lands, but 2 of them are tapped, so we won't have a turn 3 transmog unless we manage to draw another untapped source. Aside from that, it's a pretty good hand. 2 cards that are extraneous. Yeah, and we're playing versus Humans. Pretty common start, Experiment 1. We managed to draw the untapped source right away. Very happy to see that. Play our tap land and pass back. They show off that they're Bant pretty much from turn 1 with the Unclaimed Territory and Experiment 1, though they could still be 5 color. Hitting us for 2. We're not too worried about taking a little bit of damage here. We can gain life and put 11 power onto the field next turn. So we opt to not play the Courier's Briefcase here, instead choosing to keep open channel Careful Cultivation, specifically because of Reflector Mage. It's a card we know that they play, and I would much rather not have to deal with that, even though it does still hurt our Titan. It's better to have the 4/4 in play than have them wasted on a token. It's fine either way, though. They attack in for 6. Good chunk of damage, but we have Channel Careful Cultivation. Our turn, we draw into Castle Garenbrig, an incredible land in this deck. It just allows you to get out your Titan so much earlier. And by so much, I mean 1 turn earlier. But the times when you have the mana for it are pretty common, so it's just quite good. We transmog. We choose to gain life since the shield counter is not super relevant in this matchup. They might have big creatures, but I'd rather gain some life now. And their attack here, in the original recording, I was immediately thinking, hey, why are they attacking with all these creatures? If they just attacked with this one, sure, I could see that making some amount of sense. But them not playing a 4th land and attacking with creatures immediately made me think, they've probably got a Gancho. And I was initially thinking just block, but no, I decided, yeah, you can even see that. I was thinking about it like that, and then decided, no, let's play around a Ganjo, and lo and behold, they do have the Aganjo. So I find that to be an excellent punish of just thinking about that. And we draw Chariot for turn. Probably the best draw we could ask for here. It's an incredible tool versus humans. Prevents them from attacking within reason. But they do get Extraction Specialist to pump up their board a little bit more, making it such that our Titan can't really attack profitably since it'll trade for one of these. And I'm not really keen on trading a 7-drop for a 1-drop or a 2-drop, so we leave our Titan back for a little bit here. Just attacking with Chariot since it still trades for any of their creatures, and because Chariot's such a balanced card, it still leaves behind 3 other bodies if they choose to block, which they do. And I'm quite okay with that, since we drew another Chariot for turn. Play our tap land, and put out our Chariot again. And I think our opponent's kind of struggling here. No Coco, they didn't have Thalia, they don't have Reflector Mage, but they do have Resplendent Marshal, which is certainly an option that our opponent has chosen. ETB or dies, basically pumps up the creature type that it exiles. I initially thought it was ETB or attacks, since never seen this card before, but it's a lot worse than that, thankfully. So they get to exile their Extraction Specialist and make everything 5 power and toughness, as well as pumping up the Thalia's Lieutenant a little bit. Still think that Adeline would be stronger here. We draw another Titan, which normally you don't want to draw all your Titans, but when you got Castle Garenbrig, you're not too beat up about that. And it making a Rhino token is great, since not only does it allow us to crew it with Chariot, it allows us to copy it. So we choose to do that, and we choose to put a shield counter on the Titan this time, because now we have a profitable attack, since instead of trading 1 for 1, we trade 1 for their shield counter, which I am all for. So we go to attacks, and copy a Rhino, just like we said. They block a cat, so they start by blocking a cat and another cat, and then I think it's this point they realize, hey, I'm not going to be winning this game, and they concede. So that's game 1, on to game 2. Game 2, we're going second, and we sided out 2 Chandras as well as Luca for, I believe, 2 Rending Volley and 1 Anger of the Gods. Rending Volley would normally be incredible into humans if they're mono white. It's still pretty good since it hits a lot of their big things, including their angels, but it doesn't deal with their Experiment 1 or their Werewolf Pack Leader, so I decided to keep it pretty even keel. Since our removal is still pretty good into it, I'm not really feeling like switching Rending Volley out for like Strangle is necessarily that significant. So could argue that maybe it's smart to bring in all of them, but I wanted to keep them a little bit more even. Our hand is if we were just going against any random deck, this would probably not be a keep, but we know we're into humans, so 3 removal spells for our turn 1, 2, and 3, and then Eska's Chariot on turn 4 with Castle Garenbrig as a draw. Certainly an acceptable hand. And we just choose to hold open Voltage Surge on the off chance they go for Thalia. We'll bolt it then, and if they go for Lieutenant, we'll kill it now anyway. And we'd normally kill the Lieutenant, but we have Strangle, so we do that instead. And then we draw our Titan, normally bad, not with Castle Garenbrig. Saddest Lieutenant you ever seen. Shows us that they don't have an Extraction Specialist, otherwise they definitely would have gone for it. We untap and just Strangle, player land, and say go. Then they get the Resplendent Marshal. This is when I realized that it wasn't on attack, since that makes it a lot worse. But we draw into Fable. I was waffling between Chariot and Fable. Chariot's a lot better, putting up pressure, but Fable allows us to cast Titan next turn, so I believe that's what I decided to do. Yeah. It was certainly a consideration to Chariot, but just being able to guarantee a Titan next turn is very strong. And they land a Hopeful Initiate. Not used to seeing a Thraben Inspector Hopeful Initiate split, but I haven't been following Bant recently, so certainly could be the option. And I guess I say it's Bant, but I don't think I've seen anything blue yet in this deck, but with Mana Confluence and Unclaimed Territory, I think it's pretty much a guarantee that it is. So we play our Castle Garenbrig, go to attacks, make our treasure, activate Castle, and then cast ourselves a nice Titan of Industry. And in 2 turns, this will flip and be not sick. It'll flip and then be not sick the following turn. And copying a Titan of Industry is pretty much game over. This normally can help prevent that by using its ability to pop our artifacts and enchantments in Fable, but not really any profitable attacks for them, nor any spare counters to scrounge up unless they can get Thalia's Lieutenant, which they cannot, since they don't have it. So then we draw a Transmog, and a flip happens. We're in such an incredible spot, since now we can, if we needed to, attack, and then if they blocked, sure, whatever. We'd Transmog the Rhino into another Titan and put a shield counter on here, as well as make a 4/4. But they don't even block, I guess, fearing Voltage Surge. Not really sure what they were worried about, but they're in such a bad spot, I don't think blocking would have done anything. So we put the shield counter on, or we would have put the shield counter on Reflection, but they conceded, seeing that they're facing down probably like 33 power next turn. Well, not 33. I guess it'd be 29 power, 21 of which has trample. So, yeah, and that was the game. See you in game 2. On to game number 2. We are going first this game, and our hand is pretty acceptable. Not a turn 3 Transmog, but a pretty solid amount of removal, as well as Fable, and a turn 4 Transmog. No companion from the opponent, so who knows what they could be. But we will be starting with Sheltered Thicket, as is normal. I guess the ideal would be there some creature deck. Okay, well, looks like mono green. Not the greatest, but you know, at least we have good amount of land and voltage surge if, you know, they happen to draw an elf turn 2 want to play it. But aside from that, we're probably just going to curve out as is normal. Yep, Wolf Willow Haven. We can pop that. Probably don't want to. Just going to land a Fable. Looks like they might have a Karn next turn. Not too awful, because we can attack it down to 1 and then Transmog, blow up their Wolf Willow. Oh, maybe this is the red or the green-black version I've been seeing a little bit more of, with Vraska to take basically infinite turns with Chain Veil, Karn, and Ugin's Nexus, continually fetching it from exile. Another fun way that Karn is circumventing the potential downsides of exiling things. We will probably discard land. Voltage Surge has kind of passed its point of relevance. Another Transmog, another land. Certainly going to start by attacking. Get our damage in, get our treasure. Still could be some random other build, but I'm fairly certain this is mono green devotion, or not mono green devotion, green black devotion, whatever flavor of the month they want to call it. It's the same deck. So we will make 11 power, blow up one of their enchantments, and go from there. Unless they are, of course, something else. They are not. And we will blow that up. Pass the turn. And then 2 turns from now, Fable can start copying Titan of Industry. It's always back-breaking. Okay, so what is this that they've got going on? Beseiju. Okay, that is fine, honestly. Not too bent out of shape about that. They've been very passive for a mono green deck, which is what you want. We've got a 2-turn clock on them. Did kind of throw away our removal, but works out. Okay, Vraska can downtick and kill that. Now our Transmog's a little bit, well, I guess it's honestly kind of the same, since we'll just Transmog the Fable token. We could also channel Careful Cultivation and Transmog that, but I don't see that as a great option. The real question is if we kill the Vraska. I don't think so. We've got a 2-turn clock that we'll be able to present, and Vraska is unable to downtick. Hard to imagine I get punished here, but, you know, been punished before. Probably got enough green. And might as well set them back another turn in terms of mana. Yep. Shield counter not super relevant in this matchup. Though if I put it on the Rhino, they'd probably be even more dead. Yeah, they had an extremely slow hand. That is not normal for Devotion. Normally we bring in Void Winnowers just to shut down Karn and Storm the Festival. This is a different version, but I still think that it is of benefit to do so. I guess we need to bring in Anger as a 60th card. I don't see any of the other ones being particularly good. We could keep in Titan, but I don't think that's the play. I think our goal in this matchup is to immediately get out Void Winnower and shut down their power plays in terms of Karn, Vraska, and Storm. This is not a amazing hand. We get to strangle their turn 1 Llanowar Elf and then do nothing for the remaining turns, most likely. I mean, we obviously could draw out of it, but not super likely. This is another not great hand. And this is part of why the matchup's so stressful. You just have so much pressure on you to kill them as quickly as possible with your combo. I guess I can keep 3 lands, Briefcase, Fable to get there. Could have kept the Mizium Mortars, but we really need to be ramping. If we don't have turn 1 removal, then might as well not have it. That's not a great way to think about it, but looks like it would have been fine here. Turn 3 Karn, potentially. Still think we just need to stick to getting our Transmog down. Void Winter, obviously not the fantastic draw we're looking for. And I think I'm going to channel Careful Cultivation to not get hosed by the Karn, which they might have. It also gets around the Vraska downtick, at least for a turn. And with them keeping a hand like this, pretty assured that they have a turn 4 play. It looks like it's Vraska, maybe? Or Karn. Who knows? They might have a Wolf Haven. Okay, I'm not really sure what they're doing here. They are choosing to not play 4-drop. Looks like they just drew the Elvish Mystic for turn, otherwise they would have cast it beforehand, so not really sure what they've got going on, but they also could be suspicious of something we've got going on. Voltage Surge, pretty good. Thinking about if I want to do it now. Probably smart to do it now. Just set them back a little bit. They can still cast everything except for Storm the Festival, but that's a pretty big one to not be able to cast into this deck. Just giving us a little bit more time. Okay, so this is the Vraska we expected. Probably going to downtick on Fable? Oh, that makes some sense. Here we're definitely going to dig as much as we can for the Transmog effect. We'll discard probably Briefcase Winnower. Winnower's not as castable as Titan. Okay, did not get it there, but this does give us the capacity to kill the Vraska. And notably, they did miss a land drop, which is good for us. It means they're going to be put a little bit more behind. We could fire off this Awakening now and see what it gets us. Or we could play Stomping Ground and just do it end of turn. But I think we're going to go for the draw 3 with the card. Try and get our Transmog. Order doesn't matter here. Not expecting to go that long. Okay, we did get our Transmog, which is exceptional if we can fade a Karn this turn, basically. Okay, so they should kill the token, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't actually matter which one they kill, because we had the Fable flipping next turn anyway. And because we have 5 mana now, we can go to combat, kill the Vraska, and then post-combat Transmog. And that will hopefully be enough to shut them down. And picking up Chariot there was an exceptional draw. It's always nice to have a little bit more reach with this deck, since once you get into that, we're out of Transmog targets, since our Void Winnower is in the graveyard. But might be enough. Cavalier, yep. With the eagerness they started tapping, I feel like that's the only possible option. Decided in Ugin's Nexus. That's kind of surprising. They could block the Cavalier. What would they get back that matters? Storm doesn't matter. Ugin's Nexus doesn't matter without Vraska. Yeah, I'm content to put them on a 2-turn clock and then post-combat Chariot. There's also the option to Briefcase plus Chariot, but not really sure that's super nice to do. It's probably better to hold for one of our removal spells. Okay, they chose not to block. Certainly an option they're allowed to take. And yeah, this is presenting a pretty threatening board. It looks like another Cavalier here. Yep, that's about the only thing that it could be. What I would really like is probably a Fable here, just because they can double block our Cavalier, which is, or sorry, double block our Void Winner with 2 Cavaliers. That does put a wrench in our plan. I think we are putting out the Cur's Briefcase, and yeah, if we do attack, we take them down to 3. They have to lose one of their creatures. I'm pretty content to wait a little bit longer. This could be a mistake, but I think we need to build up our board a little bit more. They have all the mana they could need, but they don't have Storm or Karn, which are normally their huge outlets by which they win. Okay, this could be the Hydra, which is not good if it is. Nexus. Does this deck run multiple Nexuses in main? Oh, that's funny. Legend rolling a Nexus. Certainly something they're allowed to do. No Karn. Oh, wait. Instead exile it and take it. I'm sorry. Oh, because of their own Nexus, they can't legend roll it. That's quite funny. So, yeah, if any player would begin an extra turn, that includes them. That's quite funny. I'm content to bide my time here. Our attacks haven't gotten any better, but nor have theirs. So this is the good thing about Void Winner. It just buys you a ton of time into the mono green deck, shutting down a lot of their power plays, such as the Karn that is now stranded in their hand. Yeah, Nightmare scenario is definitely the Voracious Hydra, since they certainly have the mana to kill our Void Winner. Missy Mortars, okay. That is an exceptional draw. We cannot Mortars. Well, I guess we can, yeah. We can Mortars plus Fire Prophecy, and I think we will. I think this is the best draw in our deck, most likely. Or no, we can't. Sorry, it's 6. I still think we do it, and then that makes it so Void Winnower kills both their Cavaliers, but then they can Karn, so it's probably better to just wait to get another land drop. I don't like passing this many turns in a row, even with the Void Winnower. Let's see. Yeah, I think having Mizzium Mortars plus Fire Prophecy, we can get him to potentially double block the Cavalier onto Void Winnowers, and then blow them out with a Fire Prophecy. Nothing they bring back is exceptional. Yeah, thinking back of that Ugin's Nexus is quite interesting. Maybe they also didn't think about it like that, where it would prevent their own extra turn. Okay, Careful Cultivation is fine. I can give this some extra toughness to the point where if they block, I think that's the play. I think I'm going to use the hidden mode on Careful Cultivation that actually allows you to cast it, putting this up to 12 power. And if they block everything onto it, we can Fire Prophecy. This could be very bad. If they have Besage You in their hand, we could just lose. So Yeah, let's hope they don't have Boseiju in hand. There's an option to Mizzy Mortars plus Fire Prophecy, and then kill one of their Cavaliers. Yeah, let's see if the Boseiju happens. If they're double blocking only, that looks like they still could have, yeah, Boseiju. It looks like it's a Boseiju, and that's really bad. Because now their Karns are active. I don't get to kill both of them. Yeah, that was a pretty big punt for me. I'm content to concede the game. Yeah, thinking about that now, I should have just stuck to my guns, discarded, and then had the ability to double kill all their things. So, feel kind of bad about that play. But, oh well, live and learn. Or lose. Transmog but no enabler. Lands are kind of iffy. That's a mulligan. Enabler and transmog. Yeah. This is fine. Lands are not super amazing. We could do with a little bit better if we had a forest. But I'm not going to complain any more than I already have. Any land in our deck, basically, save for the 2 Shelter Thickets, will help us out here. No turn 1 play. And there we go, our third untapped source. We can pass back, Careful Cultivation, end of turn, untap, and land our Transmog. And we will also be killing that at some point in the future, but not right now. I don't think this deck can run Fatal Push, but that would be really funny. I don't think they have the room for it with Karn board, though. Been surprised before. Probably want this on the green side. They do have Fatal Push. Wow, that sucks a lot. And that puts us a significant amount of time behind them. Well, just goes to show that the Devotion deck always has a new way to make itself unpleasant, especially with this build and the new Teferi Slows the Sunset build. So obviously we're looking for another Transmog effect. Not too many of them in the deck, but that's okay. Definitely don't want to see one of their 4-mana Planeswalkers here. I think that might just cement everything. Yeah, Willow Haven. 3-drop. That's fine. Boseiju, not really a good reason to play it here. I think we'll just Briefcase, Voltage Surge. No reason to ever kill an Old Growth Troll with a Forest on play. Even if we could, like, 4-for-1 ourselves by sacking the Briefcase and then Boseijuing the Old Growth Troll enchantment. Awful to see, as always. Yeah, so Transmog could still save us here, though, yeah, with Karn getting Meteor Golem, they still always have an answer. Eska's Cherry, yeah, I'm content to just concede the game after throwing it so hard, game 2. That was certainly a bad play. On to game 3. Looks like we are going first versus Unknown deck. Yeah, this is a pretty good hand. We'll have to sequence our lands a little bit oddly if we want to play a turn 2 Careful Cultivation, but I think it's fine. Not a ton of value in this hand, but you know, that's okay. There is the option to Valakut Awakening turn 1 and then hope to get a green source, but I think I'm going to Rockfall Vale and guarantee our green source, and then Valakut Awakening can be our turn 3 land. They've mauled to 6, no companion. Let's see what they're doing. Phoenix. Probably, yeah. Versus Phoenix, I am more comfortable putting down a briefcase just because them killing the token is a lot worse when you get to still keep the ramp. With Careful Cultivation, they're packaged into each other. So if they kill the ramp, they also kill the creature. Whereas, oh, okay, so this is not the Phoenix build I'm very used to seeing, but, you know, still very cool. Let's see. Do we want to Valakut Awakening at some point in the future? I think I'd like to Valakut Awakening at some point in the future. We're strangling him here. He's not getting out of this. This also affords us the option of Careful Cultivation or Fire Prophecy if we find a reason to do so. I don't think I have much motivation to do so. If we draw land, we'll probably Valakut Awakening. If not, yeah. So I think we shock and pass the turn, and then Valakut Awakening at their end step. While holding open some good removal. They could be on like a Pyromancer build. Interesting. This is not a build I'm too familiar with, but maybe it's like blue-red Flash or blue-red Baby Spells. Sanctum of Ugin. Okay, so I am just absolutely unsure as to what's going on my opponent's side of the field. And I couldn't be happier about it. We're going to cast that Valakut Awakening to hopefully get into something a little bit more useful. Keep the Fire Prophecy. They've shown us that they run creatures. Chariot's good. Are they tapping down our stuff with... Yep, Elder Deep Fiend. Very cool. The question is, do we want to cycle Fire Prophecy? We're definitely Careful Cultivation. Okay, yeah, that explains why the Sanctum. And I was back of my mind wondering what the hell was going on. I think we just float the mana. That is really fun. So they got another Elder Deep Fiend. I guess their hope is that they can just tap us down for a couple turns and kill us from there. Guess we'll see how right they are. Stomp. So we have the Transmog. We do not have a target. They're not holding open removal at the moment. And we know one of the cards in their hand is another Elder Deep Fiend. So we'll just cast our Chariot and take another 5, most likely. Then get Elder Deep Fiend in our upkeep. Go from there. What I would love to see is them just tap out, but doesn't seem to be. Oh, I guess we might get the Bone Crusher. Yeah, with them casting the Bone Crusher, it doesn't really afford them many options to kill our Chariot should we crew and transmog that. Not a huge fan of doing that. We can also... We're really kind of behind in this game. I think it is probably smart to choose to transmog our Chariot as much as I don't want to. Okay, so it doesn't look like they had removal. I think I'm gonna gain some life here, as well as make another friend, just because we know they have another Elder Deep Fiend. Don't think the shield counter is too necessary. And then if they go all in, try and tap our stuff down, kill us, we at least have Fire Prophecy, Shredder. Probably kill that on the second spell if they have it. Okay, so Elder Deep Fiend is their only one. It would cost them 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So they'd have to cast it on the Elder Deep Fiend itself, which is not good for them. Do I shred some ledgers or crush some bones? I think I'm more comfortable killing the ledger shredder. No Bone Crusher Giant's the move, I think. I'll take the 2, of course, which is unpleasant. So they can cast the Elder Deep Fiend with its emerge cost and prevent me from getting the redraw, but that would mean that their ETB is borderline useless. I think I'll put back the cultivation. This is quite a good draw, of course. See if they do anything in our upkeep. They do not. We know the only card in their hand is the Elder Deep Fiend. I think I'm content to go to combat, see what kind of blocks that makes them do. And then post-combat, we will briefcase, transmog the token we just produced, and gain some more life. Oops. They'll get a redraw, which is, of course, a potential reason to... Okay, didn't matter. To not go for the token, but I think we're just going to gain some more life. And force them into a bad spot. They are, of course, given the option to tap us down when we go to combat next turn, but they have decided instead to concede. So verse blue-red emerge. Elder Deep Fiend, not the strongest thing I've ever seen. Very cool card. Rending Volley seems pretty good at killing their Ledger Shredder, but not much else since Deep Fiend is either colorless or devoid. I'm not certain which, but I assume it's colorless. Voltage Surge, not too amazing. I guess the question is if they have... I guess this also kills Brazen Borrower, but so does all our other removal. I'm good to just run it back, I think. I expect they have some Delve shenanigans, since Izzet decks are given a pretty decent boost by running those. And they seem to have small cantrips if they're running Dreadhorde Arcanist. But I'm not willing to tear apart our strategy on an unknown. So we have a pretty great curve of doing nothing until turn 4, so we will not be doing that. Yeah, this is the dream curve. Little heavy on the enablers, not so heavy on the payoff. Throw back a cultivation. Tap land forest, transmog, and see if they're holding open removal when we want to do that. At worst, we can add Cohere to hand. Yep, we'll be playing this as our tap land here. Valakut Awakening can be saved. Cantrip, making... Oh wow, they really mulliganed heavily. I didn't notice they mulled to 5. Arcanist. Yep. we're not running any removal here. We are just briefcasing and hoping that they decide that it'd be a good idea to tap out. Not gonna block. They'll get a redraw. Start to get themselves back into the game after mulliganing pretty heavily. Go ahead, opponent. Tap out. Okay, so they're holding open some nonsense, as is their prerogative. So drawing Fire Prophecy helps shape this hand a little bit more. Since we are not going to transmog into 3 open mana, that's just a fool's errand. I think we're probably good on red. Let's go get a 3rd green. See what they want to do. End of turn. Consider. Pass priority. Start a combat, I'll probably kill that. Deny him a little bit of fun. Negate. They're choosing to negate that. Okay. Not going to talk him down from that one. We could trade our Careful Cultivation into a creature by sacking our briefcase, but I have no interest in doing that. Probably another negate of some sort, or kill spell. Either way, I think we're going to want to play this a little slower and end of turn. Valakut Awakening, draw 3 cards with it, go from there. They're not exactly presenting a fast clock, and their Elder Deep Fiend is not coming down right now. Could Valakut Awakening now, but honestly, it getting countered is probably okay for me. Certainly got the Legacy Spirit going on with this Dreadhorde Arcanist, but can only imagine how well it's doing. Hopefully, it's doing pretty well for them. They've certainly clawed their way back into it in terms of card advantage. Another Sanctum of Ugin. So if I remember correctly, it's 5 blue minus that. Yeah, so they're able to do their nonsense if they want, unless my math is incorrect, but I'm not going to dwell too hard on it. We're just going to draw 3 cards. That's pretty good. Allows us to play a little bit more non-committally. See if they want to keep their Dreadhorde alive. They can also sack it to the Elder Deep Fiend if they have that in hand. If they bite on this one, I think either way I'm going for Chariot. I just find it unlikely that this Delver-style deck would not have any removal or any counterspell, so sucks to get rid of the briefcase. Gonna do it anyway. Mystical Dispute. I guess they just really need counterspells. But that would have hurt our Transmog anyway. We're certainly low on value here, but it appears that our opponent is not threat dense. Okay. I think I'm content to go for the Chandra here over the Transmog. We got our opponent on a real quick 13 turn clock. And Chandra should eat a counterspell if they've got any lingering in their hand. Which, with their play, is almost assured. Divide by 0. Okay. Let's see what they learned today. Mascot Exhibition. Not really used to seeing learn cards in this format. Surprisingly, they don't want to cast their Mascot Exhibition here. Or do they? Okay. Please do, opponent. See what happens. Sanctum Boogan, that is a funny synergy. Okay, I get that now. Wow. That is really funny. Could not be happier to see something of that creative stripe. We're just going to put down our friend here. Make a shield counter. Not like super hurting on life. We've got some decent removal in hand. Chandra is great. I'll put it on the Rhino. Or the Titan, not the Rhino. Protecting the Titan is our #1 priority at this point. I don't have Elder Deep Fiend mana yet. Or a creature to sack it with. There is certainly a reason to not put it on that. I will still be blocking what I can. Maybe this trade's 2 for 1. Chandra can downtick on Elemental Token. Or can even uptick Mizzy Mortars. Getting a land there is very helpful. Because now we can hopefully land Chandra. Uptick for mana. Mizzy Mortars, the Elemental Token. Strangle the Inkling Token. And Chandra will allow us the capacity to cast a Titan next turn, but it looks like they're going to flash it. Yep. Brazen Borrower. They do have Elder Deep Fiend open at any time in the future. Not great. Still. If we draw Castle Garenbrig, we could just Titan. Though I don't think we're going to be doing much on our next turn. Hey, they can always tap down our Chandra. That'd be funny. Definitely attacking Chandra, yeah. It's 100% the right play. Stopping our upkeep. Pay the mana. Tap down all our lands. Except for 1. No Sanctum Boogan, since that's how they got it. No instance that I can use to get myself out of this. I think our best option is just to use this as a chance to get Kahira into our hand. Since there's no green spell, we really care to cast for 1 mana, and Chandra's dying anyway. They seem pretty light on value. I guess they're kind of all in. And this Chandra has given us some good life here. Should be coming at the Chandra, yep. Maybe they're just holding some counter spells in hand. Castle Garenbrig. What a draw. I think we're just going to have to slam the Titan here. It's either that or single spell any of these, and I'm not a fan of that. I think at this point we need the life a little bit more. Probably was just smarter to get the life the first time. They haven't shown any hard kill spells, which are hard to come by in this color pairing anyway. And I'd feel a lot more comfortable at 21 than I would at 16, but I'd feel a lot more comfortable at 16 than I did at 11. So let's see what they've got left in store for us. If it's just an attack, then it means they've got a removal spell. So I think this shows that they don't have any removal in hand, or they're just unwilling to trade the Elder Deep Fiend. I can Kahira to start attacking. I can Chariot to gum up the board a little bit more. I think I'd like to Chariot here. Probably Briefcase as well, but this at least plays around Spell Pierce in this order. Since this way, worst comes to worst, we can at least block them if they decide to Elder Deep Fiend us this turn, though I don't expect they would. They'd probably just do it in our upkeep. No reason to attack at this point in time. I mean, I get to kill their Elder Deep Fiend, sure, but I don't really like losing my Titan here. And they connive away a land, which not too surprising given their passivity. Still not willing to swing in. Great for me, not for them. I think I land a Kahira. Makes our cats a lot bigger. And by a lot, I mean one bigger. Still, it's a lot here. And gives them vigilance. I think now is the time where we turn on the jets, since we just get a lot more. Okay, so Elder Deep Fiend seems to be Kozilek's Return. That sucks. Still gonna attack. So this is on 7 or greater, yeah. It's 5 to each creature. Kind of unpleasant. They got another? They do. Wow. That's okay. Now, I don't think it prudent to attack here anymore. I, of course, could transmogrify. They got more removal? Wow. So that explains a lot about their play patterns of doing nothing into nothing. Any creature off the top does a long way of getting us back into the game. And I'm not too happy with that turn, but they also spent like 5 spells to trade with ours. Do I think they have removal? Am I willing to risk it? I think we'll do the same thing we did last time. Plays around Impulse. Does not play around Brazen... Well, I guess it plays around Brazen Barber. At least better than targeting a cat token. Mystical Dispute. Not a blue deck, but still very strong into me when I play like this. Though I do still think that was the correct play. They are attacking. They have me on a decent clock. That helps. I think I'm willing to commit that pre-combat just to have another cat on either attack or block duty. Odds are they have another way to interfere with our chariot, but we're not going to win by just doing nothing. I think I'll leave the cat back. Copy the Goblin Shaman. It's better than the cat now that Kahira is dead. And we will have a redraw. They should not be able to attack with the Elder Deep Fiend in the future. And attacking with a cat would have put them dead to all attacks should they... Oh, they're just getting in. Don't really want to lose to a Brazen Borrower Flashgen at the end of our turn. So we will not. I will certainly be tossing this Castle Garenbrig. I feel like we have more than enough mana at this point in time. Let's do the same thing we did last turn. Worked well then. I'm sure it'll work well now. We are still presenting a lethal attack here. Now, of course, whether or not that goes through is pretty much not going to happen. Okay. So this will kill all our stuff. Not great, of course. But that's why we blocked. Happy to see a good friend. We'll certainly be gaining life here if we're afforded the opportunity. But it looks like it's the fourth mystical dispute. Always unfortunate. I think that's 4. 1, 2... Wait, where's... Oh, maybe it was only 3. Oh well. We are forced to chump block here. They are out of cards. We are out of cards. Let's see whose top decks are better. Probably theirs. Alright, well. Still got another turn to draw into something good. We are, of course, forced to chump block here. I'll break horror. Cool. Contented to concede and go to the next game. Hopefully not 18 turns. They didn't show any graveyard stuff. Not willing to do that. Running volley. Still not too keen on it. Maybe the Carnage Tyrant's pretty good here. It gives us a higher density of threats that aren't able to be interacted with their bevy of tools. I think I'm willing to do that. Cut the Chandras. No, they're not an aggro deck. I want Chandra over Voltage Surge. It's nice to have the mode to hit something for 4, but they haven't shown a strong aggressive plan, and pretty risky to keep 2 land and Careful Cultivation as our ramp. I'm at least willing to try it. Hopefully we draw some other untapped sources. But if not, we've at least got a backup Careful Cultivation. Shivan Reef. Okay, good to see another land. And if we're afforded the opportunity to untap with our 4 mana, which it looks like we are. Okay, I was gonna say that I was gonna cast the Chandra, but you're just gonna tap out, which is something I'm always a fan of in this deck. Just completely get rid of all your options. Prefer Titan. Got the Titan, and just think I'll put the shield counter on the Rhino this time around, since they have proven they have bounce for this, which we'll happily cast in like 17 turns when we're given the option. Divide by 0. Probably the mascot exhibition. Maybe environmental sciences. Yep. Very cool. Chariot. Still think Chandra's better here. Am I gonna down tick? Almost certainly, yeah. Forcing them to spend a removal spell on it and killing their only threat right now. It seems pretty appealing to me. Drawing a land allows us to Titan next turn with her plus. If not, you can just go for the sad backup plan of a very strong card in Eska's Chariot. They are just passing, despite having environmental sciences up. Pretty sure that means they've got a mystical dispute up. So we will play around that. And at worst, if we're wrong, and they don't have the counterspell or choose not to fire it off, we'll just add Kihira to hand with the floating Yep, they've opted to concede, I believe, seeing that their counterspell doesn't work. Cool. See you in game 3. Alright, on to game number 4. Going second. Revealing our companion. This is a pretty solid hand. No turn to ramp, but a pretty balanced hand all the same. Into a blind deck, I think I'm comfortable keeping it. Okay, so it looks like maybe this one will actually be Phoenix. Who knows though? Maybe Emerge is the new premier blue-red deck, but realistically, it's gonna be Phoenix this time. So I think I'm pretty happy I didn't try and mulligan aggressively for a turn 3 Titan, since they have ample removal. Thing in the ice. Now it's dead. Second Chariot, not great, but you know, I'm not going to complain about drawing 2 Chariots. It's so good that even having 2 is often fine when they have a good amount of removal, but it's good to have Mizzy Mortars for the Thing in the Ice. Can be a bit of a problem if we don't remove it, as we will probably be seeing. Titan, not amazing. Probably going to play green. Don't really see much reason to hold up a Voltage Surge, since about the only thing it kills is a Phoenix in this deck. Not great if they manage to flip the Thing in the Ice, but we do have the capacity to sacrifice our own Chariot to the Voltage Surge to kill the Thing in the Ice if worst comes to worst. But we're just curving out pretty readily. Pieces of the puzzle, yeah, that tracks. Hit a Phoenix. Probably gonna take Impulse Alt. Yep. Careful Cultivation doesn't really change anything. We're still gonna make some cats, and probably have one of them die to a Fire Impulse. But it eats a good amount of removal from them. They'll probably opt here, yeah. Certainly is a problematic card if it flips. Definitely able to be chump blocked. I guess it's more the process of flipping that is an issue. Do I want to let them bounce my Chariot? I actually do think I'm okay if they bounce the Chariot, but no, I probably shouldn't do that. Because I assume they have another instant or sorcery that's Phoenix, for goodness sake. So they'll probably spend another removal spell, or just choose to flip it. Yeah, Chart a Course. I can yield through this turn. A lot harder for this deck to remove, but Chariot does give me a good amount of chump blockers, which I'm all for. Fable, don't really think that changes anything. Think we go for Chariot here. Spellverse in the main, okay. That's unfortunate. Love that change where you have to hit no twice. Not looking great. Might come back to regret not having my Rukthars. But we'll see. I always have the capacity to just transmog the Awoken Horror, though that's seldom a winning line. Another land's pretty nice since it gives us the emergency careful cultivation. And allows us to get around Spell Pierce, which they seem to be playing in the main. Pretty sure we're just always losing this one. Because they can fire up Hall and then kill us if they have another land. If they have removal, yeah, we're just dead on board once I see the land. Yep, we lose. On to the next game. So we definitely bring in these. Probably cut. Fire Prophecy's not that great, even if it's a pretty good card. Voltage Surge... it's not that amazing here. Probably cut a Luca, too easy to kill it. Chandra's pretty good. Honestly, Transmog is so risky. Sometimes I end up cutting it in this matchup. We unfortunately have to play their game, but that's fine. We have a good amount of good removal. Strangle can be acceptable versus their phoenixes and birds. And Titan of Industry is still strong. Anger is an option, but it really only hits a phoenix. And my goal is to make it not hit the field. So, not too amazing. If we had Rurik, we'd probably cut all the Titans and bring in... we'd probably leave in one of the Transmogs. Part of me wants to just keep a Transmog in for a Strangle, since Strangle's kind of underwhelming in this matchup. Yeah, I think I'm fine with that. But, we'll see. Our opponent also seems to be tanking. Yep, there we go. I know my deck's not a common one to run into, so understandable. Pretty good hand. Would like to draw a fourth land since our Careful Cultivation token is basically 100% to die here, but 3 lands, do some removal, ramp into a Chandra. It's a good hand. Titan's not great until we draw into our Castle Garenbrig in a few turns, I'm sure. Well, they kept their 6, but they appear to be enjoying an upkeep stop on my turn. I'm sure they'll notice in a second. There we go. Tap land. No reason to keep it open on turn 1. Fable's quite good, since when our Careful Cultivation token inevitably dies, we'll have a stronger turn 3 play. Bins and opt. Seems fair. Okay, so this is a no red hand. I'm not sure why they would need double blue. I'm not going to argue with it. So we could deploy the Chandra, which seems like it might just get put back on top of our library. We could also try for the Fable. If it's Spell Pierce, I would rather Chandra here. If it's Aether Gust, I would rather Fable here. And that would also allow us to play Valakut Awakening tapped. I think I'm more comfortable getting our Fable countered here, since they appear to be doing that. And if it doesn't get countered, then that's really good for us. Consider. Maybe they just have all cantrips in hand. Okay. Very okay with that landing. Allows us to play this tap land. It's something they'll probably need to spend removal on. And yeah, it allows us to probably pitch our Titan, though we're getting to the point where it's pretty castable. We're already up to 5 mana. 6 by next turn. Okay, well that was a miss in terms of cards in hand, but wow, that was a pretty strong hit in terms of Phoenixes in graveyard. And because they got so many Phoenixes, I feel somewhat incentivized to dig a little bit deeper. I'm okay with dropping Rending Volley. I do want to find a hearse. Okay, well no hearse, but all the same, we can land our Chandra. And I don't think the 1 extra damage from attacking with it matters, so I'm going to add Kahira to hand and swing out. I feel decently ahead, but 2 Phoenixes in grave is never a good position. The bird means that it's less likely that they can... Okay, double bird. That's a lot of Phoenixes. Not a fan. We can kill one of them and play Titan. If we draw... Okay, well. Yeah, we would have needed to draw a land that was untapped. Or I guess we'd Chandra anyway. But now it doesn't really matter. I think our best bet's to kill that, strangle that, then Titan. Yeah. And it's prudent to put the shield counter on the Kiki Jiki, since if we untap with it, it's pretty much a game win. It's creating a hasty Titan is lights out for most decks. Now, they do still have a way to get back 3 Phoenixes, starting off with their Opt, of course. Probably gonna draw 3 cards for 1 mana. But I think even with that, yeah, either they didn't have it or they realized that we're going to be attacking for quite a bit next turn. Running Willy didn't really matter. Didn't really see any of our hearses either. Who cares? Run it back. I feel comfortable with our decisions. Some decent early game removal. Turn 2 ramp. And some Fables to hopefully get us into something a little bit stronger. Not too keen on keeping a 2-land hand, but Briefcase is better than Cultivation here. And we've got 3 looks for another land, and if Fable resolves, then quite a few more. They mull to 6. I will choose to keep, and hopefully draw a land. But again, we still have plays even if we don't. Appears they have a nothing to do, so no 1-mana cantrip. Unlicensed Hearse. I think that's going to be my turn 2 play. I'd be much more comfortable if I drew another land with that being my turn 2 play, but it's quite good, even though it slows us down by potentially a turn should we not draw a land. They don't seem to be going fast anyway. Okay. No land, but they don't exactly seem to be filling up the graveyard. They didn't have a 1-mana cantrip last turn. They might have Spell Pierce. Consider? Okay, so maybe they just didn't want to take the 2 damage. But I would hate to be stuck on a lands. And I feel like there's not much reason to deploy the Hearse here. They can't really revive Phoenix unless they hit it off a Consider. Okay, well, I'm very happy to see another land, since it allows us to be a little bit more comfortable tapping out for Fable. Though, with how little they've done, now I'm still gonna go for the Fable Emir Breaker. Cool. Very happy to see that hit the field. Definitely gonna try an Unlicensed Hearse next turn. Probably pitch a Careful Cultivation and a Strangle, try and hit more lands to play around. I don't know. Spell Pierce we already play around, but I guess just get into better cards. Since Strangle is not looking too amazing. Castle Garenbrig, always a welcome sight when we have a forest land. This is just such an amazing card in this deck. Used to run 0, then used to run 1, now run 2. It has just made it so much easier to cast the Titan. Having just 6 lands for Titan, or 6 mana producing sources, is a lot easier than 7. Yeah, definitely pitching Cultivation, pitching Strangle as well. More lands. Very happy. We'll force them to use removal on the Shaman if they're willing to. They might just try and hold it to hopefully play around our Transmog, which we do not have. So, okay, looks like they're gonna let us attack, which allows us to Hearse plus Fable even easier, since we get a treasure. Yep, castle is free. I'm gonna Hearse first. Might eat a negate. Does not eat a negate. Then we'll Fable. Hold on to the Briefcase, just because on the off chance I manage to get 3 treasures, well, maybe I'll draw 3 cards. But more than likely, it's just gonna be equivalent and uncopyable by a Braid. Eat what we can. Not too unexpected from this deck. We're gonna have another 2 looks. We'll probably discard land, Strangle, since they certainly don't seem to have any cards in their hands that would deal us damage. they probably are holding on to an Aether Gust, or their hand is just so awful that they can't do anything. I've got enough lands to just discard land, I think. More lands. But if we are able to attack, we do have the opportunity to play Briefcase and draw 3 with it by cracking the other Briefcase. Which, yeah, I'm going to do that. Certainly been a very active game from our opponent. Now there is also the option of not cracking any of our treasures to, once this flips during their end step, we can make X copies of it, where that's the number of mana we've got. So, we'll see. It depends on how they play this out. Fable. They'll probably take Pieces, Impulse, kill our Reflection. Pieces, Impulse. So, I think we need to draw here. Yeah, I like the idea of drawing. It's kind of a rarity to do, so enjoy it while I can. Plus, hand kinda bad. Would rather have 3. Pretty good. We are still going to hold back the Reflection, since should they ever try and kill it, we can make a copy of it, and then during end step when it tries to get sacked, we make another copy. We can keep those going for a while if the need arises. This is never a position you want to be in if you're facing down this deck. The double Reflections are quite nasty. And we got a very fast clock on our opponent as well. It may have even been right to swing out just to put them down to 1 with Chandra, but I feel comfortable enough taking it a little slower. We'll land the Chandra here if possible, and if not, then whatever. And we'll go for the Reflection nonsense that I was mentioning. During our end step, it'll eat an Impulse, but that's okay. Or there's the option of not doing that, because they'll pass priority to us first. We can just... Well, they're treasure cruising. Would they take treasure cruise and consider? So, consider treasure cruise, fire impulse. Yep. They're certainly not alive on board at the moment, but it appears that they gonna play it out. They mill a disdainful stroke, right? Yeah. What is this? Another draw 3? That's basically a concession, so looks like we get it. Cool. See you in the 5th match. Alright, on to our 5th and final match of the league. Going first. Not the strongest hand I've ever seen. 2 lands, Transmog, some good stuff, but not comfortable enough to keep that one. Now this is quite a good hand. Probably put back the Titan. We got ramp. We have a 4-drop on turn 3 potentially. Some removal if they're able to be removed. Turn 1 tap land. They mold to 6. Okay, they stayed at 6. maybe another Phoenix deck. Either Phoenix or blue-white, but blue-white normally plays a turn 1 tap land, so I'm gonna say it's probably another Phoenix deck. What a surprise. We definitely want to get our chariot down first, I think. Though with no land, 4 could be a mistake. I think I've convinced myself to go for Chandra here. But let's see. Chandra allows us to also play Chariot, but Chariot starts a faster clock. I still think Chandra is a pretty good card. Just deal him 2. Not sad to see that ripped off the top. Probably got the 3-drop 5 thing. Pieces of the puzzle. With a slow hand like that, it's difficult to believe anything else. Thing in the ice. Killable, if we should choose to kill it. Happy to see a land, even if it is a tap land. We'll go for the attack. If they block, probably kill it with Fire Prophecy. If not, we can always downtick on it. Can use double removal spell. I like the idea of playing Chariot here. Leave open a fire or a voltage surge with whatever kicker as an option to kill it if we absolutely need to. It's just so good to start getting the Chandra ticking up. Ulting Chandra is pretty much always a game win. And a turn 3 Chandra is quite strong. Okay, second thing in the ice. Not a fan. We'll start with the crew. Go to attacks. I'm more comfortable sacking the Chariot in this scenario, since our Chandra is just 1 turn away from ulting. Still refusing to block. Still think I want to uptick here. I think I'll exile. Land off the top. I think I'll hold open double removal spell on the bad, so trying to hit there. I think it's too much of a risk to allow them to untap with the thing in the ice. Hate it, but sorry, Chariot. Now, 3 spells is not too difficult for this deck. Planning. Yeah. If they have 3rd spell, we're in deep trouble, since they get to erase our entire board. Looks like they're drawing 3 anyway. That sucks so bad. Might have been a game-losing play to not kill it, but greed got the better of me, so yeah, we'll just probably just lose. Yeah, I'm content to go to the next game. Same as last game. Though this time I am going to try the Voltage Surges. Really sucked we had to sack there, but... yeah. Going first again. Kahira. Good enough for me. They mull to 6 again. Looks like they might be keeping a 1-lander. It looks like they are remaining at a 1-lander. Probably should have done the hearse there. That was definitely a mistake. I'm just going to add Kahira to hand. Not really feeling like I'm going to be cycling Sheltered Thicket next turn, though. Certainly could be. Looks like they got their land they wanted. Okay, well, it didn't matter that we completely forgot to exile that. Now we have Chandra. And we will be killing this thing in the ice. Not great for ulting. Still great for killing them. Yeah, they're certainly just going to be digging for another land. Finale of Promise. Not used to seeing that in this deck. A Braid for the hearse. Hate to see it. And yet, it's whatever. I think we're probably going to... what do we have that's 5 mana? Nothing. We'll probably start by... I guess we can just go for the Transmog here. It's probably the best play. Not a super common thing to do versus this matchup. And very tough for them to deal with at this point. Looks like they have seen enough. Cannot blame them. Missing a land drop. We had both Titan and Chandra on field, and did force them to use their Braid. Kind of a not great spot for them to be in. Slower hand, but versus deck, it's difficult to get your Transmog off anyway, so I'm not gonna mulligan down just to lose. And Castle Garen Brig is good, especially when we draw the Titan. I guess the optimal thing would for them to play Thing in the Ice. Yep. Very happy to see that. Dead. Doesn't really matter. Chart, of course, a lot less scary when it's not ticking down a Thing in the Ice. Though it's a little bit more scary when it's giving them Arclight Phoenix. Tapped out, missed another land drop. I guess that's just gonna be my opponent's downfall, hopefully. Just missing every land drop in the game. Maybe they'll get angry and just kill the Goblin Shaman. We're only a few turns away from just being able to hardcast the Titan. And we do get 3 more looks at another potentially good card. You know, I think we have enough lands. very okay with Hearse. Probably play the Veil. Get swing in. And eat their Phoenix. Oh man. Can't believe they abraded my card. Probably should have saved it. And yeah, we'll probably pitch Careful Cultivation at end of turn, since it would allow us to Titan next turn. Might be smarter to just fire off the Hearse here. If they put anything to stack, I'm gonna do it now, since they can draw 3 if they exile their graveyard, which it looks like they're doing here. Yeah. Getting lazy with it definitely punishes me. But, that being said, I get to cast Titan. And protect my Fable of the Mirrorbreaker. And I have an active Hearse. They are in an unpleasant spot. I could even transmog. No, I don't think that's the play. I'm either transmogging a Monk token, Hearse, or Reflection. I can do this all next turn, and their mana's gonna be so caught up trying to kill this Titan. Or, not Titan, the Reflection. That I think we'll be fine. Yeah, being able to put a shield counter on Reflection is such a incredible part of this deck. It just makes an already great value card, which Reflection is a great value card, just so much grosser to be able to, yep, and there we go. Looks like that was enough to get that out of them. Them binning a Fire Impulse is a good sign for me, since, I mean, exactly what they're looking for is probably removal for the Reflection, but if they kill the Reflection, they're not killing the Titan, and they're taking 12. Plus I'm continually exiling their graveyard. Yeah, they were in a no-win position at that point. Stumbling on some lands. Hate to see it. Love to see it. Yeah. And yeah, 4-1, losing a... Probably I'd say that was a misplay to Golgari Devotion. Thought about it, but it was too late by the time I'd already thought about it, as it so often is. But a 4-1, not too bad. See you next time.